Well, so we're going to have a spoiler-free section for anyone who hasn't seen it, and then we'll have a bit at the end about spoilers. Just go into that because I think it's interesting. A lot of people speak about the ending. We'll talk about the ending at the end of this. Very kind of controversial and unusual, weird, but yeah, we'll get to that. I had low expectations with the movie. It's a zombie film. We mentioned in the preview that zombie films have been so overdone. It's hard to make a film that's interesting and got substance and stuff like that, and something that feels original and unique. It's weird because like it doesn't really feel original. It doesn't really feel unique, but I still enjoyed it. Danny Boyle has just kind of unusual choices with the way he directs, and his music choices are really interesting. Sometimes I find them quite distracting in his movies because they're so weird. Like, he'll have something really chaotic and really quite tense happening, but then he'll have some kind of weird, kind of like nice, like da-dee-da-dee-da music in the background that kind of like juxtaposes to it, which I really like. I like the music choices he made in this film. Obviously, the kid character, Alfie Williams, was fantastic. I didn't
shout out to him.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He was great.
Didn't expect him to be like such a main part of it as well. The characters didn't really have much depth, I'd say. But again, it's not a film where I was expecting.
No, like really. The character. I guess they're archetypes.
They're archetypes. Yeah. But yeah, what was your reaction to it?
My reaction was completely like the opposite to yours.
Yeah.
I didn't even hate it. I'm like right in the middle.
Right.
Where I was never bored. I'll preface that, never bored at all.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot to like appreciate about it. But there was something missing for me. And that's probably like due to my own expectations. Maybe I was expecting more from it than you were, but yeah, I can't quite put my finger on what that was.
Did you expect it maybe more to like play into 28 Days Later?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, to have more of a link to it.
Yeah, and I mean, this is very much would you even call it a sequel? Yes, it technically takes place.
I mean,
it's a standalone story.
Yeah, it doesn't really have anything to do
exactly
with it,
aside from the fact that it is 28 years later.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it just feels a bit lazy.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's just a zombie film.
But no, I think the main problem I had with it, and this is normally Danny Boyle's strength. Like you were saying, he's a very stylistic director. Makes very unusual choices, and I did appreciate those. I liked the cinematography. The fact that it was shot with that bloody 20 iPhone rig. It's very cool, very inspiring.
Some of the shots that he got with that was incredible.
Crazy. Very, very inspiring.
Yep.
But I felt with this film that the style really outweighed the substance.
You weren't emotionally engaged?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And it's weird because, it's a very simple narrative and it's kind of built for that when you have like, Alfie Williams with his mother Jodie Comer and the dad.
Yeah.
That's quite, on the surface, that's quite an easy story to get like invested in because, we all want our parents to be okay. Yeah. But for me, it ran quite, I don't know, hollow's the wrong word. Because not that there isn't any heart in there. There are a lot of themes.
Yeah, there is a hell of a lot of themes.
Oh no, there's a lot of themes in there. But it didn't connect with me. And I really wanted it to. I was thinking, I should like this. I should be enjoying this. And I just didn't.
Wow. Yeah. Fair enough. I'm surprised how much I liked it. I wasn't blown away by it or anything. I wouldn't say, oh, wow, it's a masterpiece. But I was just pretty much on board with it. I felt like it was set out to do, a variety of things, and it pretty much did all of them. I wasn't prepared to be blown away by it. It's a zombie film. I think it's hard to, have you ever? What's like the most impactful emotional zombie film you've seen? Do you know what I mean?
I'm not even bullshitting you. I think it might be
Shaun of the Dead.
Seriously, it is.
Because it's just so down to earth, and it has such variety to it, and the comedy. And with Nick Frost at the end when he's in the underground
when
basement.
Simon Pegg has to bloody
kill his mum.
Yeah, absolutely.
True, because it's just so. And they're like real people in that film. Shaun of the Dead, they're like real human beings.
That was also one of the problems with this film. I think apart from the kid. Because like child actors, they often have to they have to draw like those those emotions
Yeah.
from a certain place, or sometimes not.
Mm.
But I'd say apart from him, like Aaron Taylor Johnson, I don't know if he felt like a real person. I don't know if he did he feel like a real human being
No,
to you?
no, none of them seemed like real human beings. Maybe apart from the kid. But again, I just take it back to like it's a zombie film. You know, I'm here to watch zombies get fucking slaughtered and killed, and I want tense.
And he gave us that.
He gave us that, and I want tense scenes where people are like really on the edge of like really like suspenseful moments. And there was a lot of edge of your seat stuff, like where it's really you really feel the suspense. And it was interesting, like I said, what he did with the music, because I felt like it really worked. And just the fact that it was shot on an iPhone alone is just kind of so inspiring.
It's crazy,
and it's just so cool. The message of it is just like, hey, look, you don't need the most top expensive cameras, you know.
This is like a Hollywood production. This is a big film. And the fact that they were able
it's
to
just it's insane.
On
It's
an
insane.
iPhone.
And yeah, with the archery with the crossbow. Is it a crossbow?
The crossbow.
Yeah, where they
bow,
shoot
whatever you want to call it.
bow and arrow when it's like and it shoots them, and then you've got like these tracking shots that go right around them, and it's kind of like freeze frames and
that was a really interesting
and the
shot.
blood and the I'm literally just like, oh, Saul, don't you think the was cool? Like, just enjoy the carnage. Don't try to get too invested in the story. But
emotional investment.
Maybe if you just maybe if you just watched those, like if you saw them as separate scenes and didn't have to watch the whole fucking movie, you'd enjoy it like that. But
now, just to go on a tangent, I don't know if you got this from the film.
Yeah.
But structurally, and I guess this is from the fact that it's a very simple narrative, it felt like a video game to me. But I don't know if I'm saying that as like a compliment or not.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
It was just the way it was structured, the fact that they're in one location, they have to go across this bridge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's a bloody fetch quest. Spiders find the Doctor.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that, I mean, maybe that was intentional on the part of Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. I think especially Alex Garland, because he's actually, I mean, this is a completely off topic, but he's writing directing an Elden Ring film, which is, that's a video game.
Yeah.
And I did feel that influence here.
Just like the plot of it.
Yeah, no, the plot, and then also, I mean, the plot armor.
Do you feel like there's plot armor in it? Don't know, no specifics, but
no specific. Yeah, I'd say a little bit because the kid, but I don't know if that was a good choice or not. I mean, for me personally, I don't know if I like that.
I suppose there were moments where there were moments where that happened a lot in movies. It took a while to get to it. I think it was like an hour in. I was like, actually, so far, no plot armor shit has happened. And then it did get to a point where some things were happening. Someone's in the
last half.
Someone's in a dire situation, and then just at the last minute, someone's there to help. Which, how many times have we seen that sort of shit before?
In every horror.
In every fucking thing. But yeah, I feel like if we do a comparison to say something like A Quiet Place. To me, it's on that same level where it's just like you can enjoy it for, just the stakes and just the way it was directed and all of that stuff. And you don't look too closely to all the, plot conveniences and the lack of depth with the characters. I was pleasantly surprised, but I wasn't blown away by it. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. What would you give it?
I'm going to go quite low, a 5.
A 5 out of 10?
Yeah, 5.
Damn. So we'll get to the spoilers. So stop watching if you haven't seen the movie. At the end, there's like the last 10 minutes, like these people show up, like these fucking ninjas, in like the forest after Alfie Williams' character decides to just fend for himself, and they just show up out of nowhere, and they kind of like their attire is very.
It's questionable.
It's strange.
Any of our viewers know a certain ex-television host. I hate to say it, I was drawing parallels with.
There were a lot of similarities.
Jimmy Savile, let's just say it. Why would they dress like Jimmy Savile?
Why would they dress like Jimmy Savile?
Yeah. And why was the guy's name? Why was Jack O'Connell's name? Why was Bro called Jimmy?
Yeah, he said, "My name is Jimmy," and it was almost like a reveal, like, I'm Jimmy. Like it was as if a nod to the audience.
Not he's endorsing anything, but is that like a hint, maybe for the next film, like the origins of this, like.
What the hell was it trying to say? I just don't.
Yeah. And maybe it wasn't trying to say anything. Maybe I'm just being like a little pretentious like Letterboxd film snob.
No, but let's just say, right, the characters kind of dress like Jimmy Savile.
Yeah,
and they say that their name is Jimmy.
Yeah.
So what is that?
I'm Danny, actually like Alex. What are you doing?
I'm so confused. Yeah, 28 years later does feature a Jimmy Savile cult. Here's what's going on. Blah blah blah. Danny Boyle. They littered the film with symbolism and metaphor. Garland himself shared how the new film explores how we can misremember things in our British mythic retelling of the past. I don't know what...
That sounds like bollocks to me.
During the sequence, the boy looks up at his dad and tries to correct him that he wasn't as heroic as his father was making out. Jamie was, in fact, mythologizing his son's adventure. So what does this all have to do with Jimmy Savile?
This is completely lost on me, then.
In the final scene of 28 years later, Spike is alone on the mainland, being chased by infected, and is saved by an odd group led by Jack O'Connell's Sir Jimmy Crystal. He and all of his cult members are dressed like the late Sir Jimmy Savile. Complete with his eccentric jewellery, tracksuits and long blonde hair, all the Jimmies hold weird makeshift weapons before cartoonishly saying blah, blah, blah. Characteristically, somewhere in between Savile himself and the ultraviolet droogs of controversial British classic Clockwork Orange, a Stanley Kubrick film that was banned in the UK. What? Just get to the point. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Do you buy that?
It's still not saying the point.
Does that justify it?
It's still not saying the point. Yeah. We'll see.
Well, I'm just going to jump in.
Go on.
That is a very interesting theme.
It is. Like, it's so fucking interesting.
No, that's a very interesting theme, and that was one actually the problems I had with this one. I think the style overwhelmed the substance. It was overstuffed, blah blah blah. But I do not think that one theme justifies the ending.
No,
that does not justify the ending at all. And actually, I think it would have been so much better if they had just ended on the narration, which was a little cliche, where he's like, yeah, Dad, I'm living out in the forest. Don't go look for me. I would have found that more impactful.
Symbolically, this can be taken to mean the chaotic disorder of the new world, but also a sign of the devil, implying that Jimmy claims to be and appears to be a savior, but is actually a monstrous villain.
But why end the film on that?
And also,
why end the film on that? I'm not saying that theme wasn't there. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would see symbolism, but
also why would you point to Jimmy Savile and try to use him as a marker of someone who's monstrous? Not to say that he's not a monstrous person.
Sorry, guys, this has turned into a true crime podcast. It's not a film podcast anymore.
No, but why out of all people, would you pick Jimmy Savile to do that? What the hell?
Yeah,
I'm not offended by it, but I'm confused.
Hearing them explain it, it's an interesting theme and idea, and they put more forward into the average horror film, but
it's so weird.
It's a weird note to end on, man.
It's so weird.
So long story short, I did not like the ending. I mean, how did you feel about it?
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. We watched it today. I need to let it fester in my mind. I'm not like, what would they? What? What? Yeah. I'm so confused. It's just so crazy to me. Like, why?
The fuck?
Why? Why would you do that? Why is there always... I find that a lot with movies, where there's always just weird shit in it that they try to... There's like some sort of social message that has some kind of connection with the real world, and it's just out of nowhere. And it's like, what was the point? Like, it's a lot of people would probably say it's a bit distasteful. Do you think? Would you agree?
A little, yeah. Oh no, for some people, if you're of a certain generation, absolutely, they'll be like, why would you do that?
And why would you end it like that? Why would you? Strange, really strange,
very strange. But I think the other scene we have to talk about, and this is in terms of when Danny Boyle's style sometimes is less effective, is after. So Ralph Fiennes has killed Jodie Comer's character, and he gives the boy back the skull of his mother. And I feel like we both found that moment would have been slightly more impactful if they had just toned down the bloody schmaltzy
because
music.
Like, it's contradictory to what I was saying, because like his style is very interesting music, and it's unmanipulative music, in my opinion. And then he just had this scene that we just had, where it was trying to be emotional and and it didn't. I must say, it didn't make me emotional. It didn't touch me in any way, where like the mother dies. I thought that was probably the most kind of soap opera-y, kind of cartoonish moment in the film.
That scene started off so well. We can infer everything from the performances, from his body language. That's why I thought Alfie Williams was so good.
Yeah.
You believe that, he's this great warrior with quite a bit of plot armor towards the end, but he's still a boy. He's still a child who's lost his mum. And if they just cut, either cut that scene off after Ray finds hands in the skull, or kept that moment in without score, that would have been so much more impactful.
Yeah, I agree.
Because everything else in the frame, the acting, the mise-en-scène, the cinematography, blah blah blah, that was doing it. That was giving me everything I need.
Yeah.
And when you put the music in there, it's kind of like dumbing down the emotional intelligence of the scene.
You put it
saying to the audience, you must be sad.
Yeah.
You have to be sad. His mother's died. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I thought.
Made the moment less effective than it could have been.
Yeah. Did you like the alpha zombie, the big fucking looking like Jason Momoa looking fucking
Oh my
thing?
God.
Just ripping.
Yeah, he was pretty cool, and I like the fact that they allude to how he's always been there.
Yeah.
Ray finds is like, oh, he's been there for about 3 years, Kirill.
And he's like, oh yes, yeah. I brush past with him sometimes, and he's so like calm and casual. I liked Ralph Fiennes.
Oh no,
because I thought he would be, for some reason, I thought he'd be a bit of a dick. In that, I thought he'd be like a villain, but he turns out.
No, I mean, he's made his career playing villains at this point.
Exactly. So,
I
liked that.
So, what did you think of the Swedish guy? Do you think he was needed?
Who was that?
The soldier.
The soldier.
I guess that says it all. You completely forgot about it.
Well, he's not in it for long. I don't know. It was okay.
I guess it added, a nice bit of levity to the film.
Yeah, it was quite impactful, to see the when the fucking even the pregnant zombie scene.
Yeah.
It was pretty much. I liked how it didn't shy away from showing you some really fucking quite disturbing imagery.
I'm shocked this is a 15.
Yeah, it's pretty
this is
intense.
really brutal.
Overall, I was just. There were bits in it that kind of didn't hit me, like you said, that bit with the music. It just didn't feel. I didn't feel like anything.
No,
it felt really strange. It felt like a real tonal shift.
And again, that ending, man. Actually, hearing them describe it—that's a real tonal shift.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I actually don't think it connects to the rest of the film at all.
It doesn't. Maybe they're just trying to set up something. But what?
Yeah,
Spike and the Jimmy Savile crew?
Yeah.
What the hell are they trying to set up? What are they doing?
And it was. I did find it kind of funny where they were like, "May we join you?" And the kid just goes, "All right, go on then. Knock yourselves out."
It's like, yes, please.
On,
so yeah, you'd give it a 5 out of 10.
Yeah,
I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
Sorry, Danny. Sorry.
Wonder
Alex.
what the hell you guys on the internet are thinking about the ending.
Is this IMDb time?
Yes, exactly. Horrendously.
Okay. Wow. Starting off strong.
Horrendously atrocious dumpster fire. Oh, this is all that person said. That's all that.
There's nothing.
They didn't go into any depth there. 28 What the Fuck Later. This is by Mekaranom. Making the third movie this bad is just a crime, especially coming from the same director and writer. Maybe they should have think 28 times before they decided to do it. High expectations, higher disappointments. They baited us with a cool trailer. The story is weak and all over the place. I think they didn't intend to create an art anymore these days, just trying to get as much money into their pockets. The movie is superficial and didn't have any depth to it. Just don't waste your time and money for this movie. It's better to just rewatch 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. You'll end up regretting it 28
Sorry, just
times.
jump in. I'll give him this. I do agree that for me, I didn't find there was any depth. But I don't think that was for lack of trying. I just felt it was overstuffed.
I felt like it was definitely trying to do.
Absolutely.
Said, yeah.
So I disagree that it was no. I didn't feel any cynicism behind it because Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, they're not gonna do it. Just because someone they will only do it if they have they had a story to tell.
This movie is absolute garbage. Not just bad, but offensively lazy. There's no logic, no flow, no internal consistency. The plot doesn't exist. Just a series of dumb things happening for no reason. The emotional arc falls flat. The father-son dynamic is surface level at best. Characters are thrown in mid-film only to die five minutes later. Why? Who cares? Certainly not the directors. Dialogue is filler. People talk, but there's no depth or purpose behind any of it. It ends like a Power Rangers episode. No joke.
Not around.
It's just meaningless chaos and attempts at shock pretending to be profound. Yeah, I'm guessing you pretty much agree with everything there. It just ends like a Power Rangers episode.
Maybe not with the same angry vitriol. I'm not angry about it. I'm kind of angry that I didn't like it as much as I wanted to.
Did you like the scene where they're like indoors and there's like playing the Irish music and they're all like singing and going crazy?
Yeah, I quite like the juxtaposition. That was cool.
I quite
And then
enjoyed that.
actually, I'm going to point to jump into one other scene because I did quite like the way it was shot. I liked after they first go over to the other side when Aaron Taylor Johnson and the kid there, it's like it's late at night.
Yeah.
Late at night, excuse me.
Yeah.
And they're running towards the gate. They're just about they're about to close it, and the moonlight shining. I did quite like that scene. Just
And that track that they play.
Yeah, just the way it was shot.
Yeah.
The visuals in that scene were crazy.
Yeah. This is a 5 out of 10 from Aaron TP. It was going to be difficult to surpass the previous two movies, and for me, 28 years later didn't. I mean, let me just point out, the opening scene of 28 weeks later, I think is just phenomenal. Do you remember?
Very underappreciated.
That is just
I think
fantastic.
that's quite an underappreciated film.
It is,
like 28 weeks later.
Boyle could have really ramped up the adrenaline, but it just wasn't there. Lots of pointless sub-stories going on, and the military scenes. Oh yeah, we didn't mention that.
Did you find that effective, or did you find it a bit annoying?
I didn't find it effective. I thought it was a bit annoying.
Again, that's just an example of the style.
Yeah.
Kind of rearing its head and saying, look.
Yeah.
And that was the problem I had with it at points.
Yeah, this is that I will that I will agree
particularly
with.
in that moment.
And it actually reminded me of Shane Meadows a little bit, the way he was doing that. Like with This Is England, where he cuts into little, actual real world
But then This
stuff.
Is England, that had more of a historical context because it was set during the 80s with the Falklands War.
Yeah, exactly.
And the skinhead movement. But then with this, did you get why they kept on cutting back to that old
I thought
1930s B movie of the army?
Yeah, I thought it would come up, but it didn't. It just was like, hey, this is similar to this.
I mean, look, I feel like the parallels were pretty obvious. This is they very much referred to a prehistoric society. They have to hunt for food and whatnot.
Yeah, but he didn't need to show us that.
No, not really. It was very much a case of them Boyle, the editor, and Alex Garland being like, oh, look how flashy and kind of artsy we can be.
I agree with that. I agree with that. It's a one-watch movie, and yes, it is worth just that one watch. But it's just not a roller coaster ride like the previous movies. The opening running scene of 28 weeks later, there you go. It was too difficult to match, and for me, Boyle just didn't pull it off. After all these years, it was disappointing, or perhaps I just need to lower my expectations.
And sorry, just going back to Danny Boyle. This actually, the fact that it is so flawed is not surprising. Remember Trainspotting 2? Mm-hmm. I feel like he does struggle with sequels.
Yeah.
Because they're following up an original film that is so beloved. The first Trainspotting, 28 Days Later. Mm-hmm. And, he really tries. I'm not saying that he half-assed it. Doesn't half-ass anything. But my God, there's so much to this film. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like when it comes to a sequel, he slightly crumbles. That's what we've seen with these. I don't know if you felt that.
They never, which is normal, with sequels.
But it's just usually you don't expect it when it's the same director.
Yeah, I think it is, people just have really high expectations.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we've got to remember the context of when 28 Days Later came out. I mean, it set up a whole different genre.
Style, absolutely.
Of zombie movies. This film could never do that. How do you expect this film to do that? It's a different time, we're not going to get that kind of movie unless I don't know. And he tried. He still tried. He shot it on an iPhone. That in itself is just amazing. The fact that it even exists, I think, is just is so impressive, and fair play to him that he was paying back to that idea of shooting it really rough and I agree. I totally understand where you're coming from. I get it. But there are certain films where it's just that's so surface level, that's so crap. But I think as long as films don't play too many games, and they are impressive in terms of the style, and they're just a good time, I can enjoy them just for that. No, they don't have to always have depth and substance.
And this is a case of it not meeting my own personal expectations, because of course I could just do
would you watch it again
style,
though? Would you watch it again?
I was expecting more. I feel like after having this conversation I would watch it again, but not because I want to, more to see if I'll like it, which I don't think is a good sign.
Yeah
So it would more be kind of a what's the word, a
mandatory watch.
Exactly, not because I want to, just feel like I want to. So it's unlikely. Yeah, it's very much unlikely.